Welcome my friends, this is Maniacal Incorporated and you join me at a very depressed war council. I had promised that we were going to start moving north. We were going to take Flanchina's army, march to Kilmore, and from there on to Clonleash and Ardvaca. There is a bit of a problem, however. And this wasn't something I'd noticed. Arguilla is, as was historically accurate, a vassal of Alloch. And I don't know how I'd actually bring it up. Oh, there they are. Chashel. They have Tuavuan, Desvuan, and Irvuan as vassals, which would also be historically accurate. This entire region would all be Munster. And then we have Connacht, which is on its own. Again, not too sure where it's actually gone to. There we go. Connacht is on its own. What I'm going to have to do, and I really didn't want to do this, I thought it was just going to be a straight march onto the 5 areas that we need, which are in Alloch, Arguilla, in our area, and 2 of them then here in Chashel, and 1 down in Desvuan. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to start picking apart the weakened kingdoms, because I'm not going to be able to, we'll say, declare war on Arguilla and fight against these 2 entities at the same time. I'm not going to be able to declare war on Munster and fight 3, 4 kingdoms at the same time. So, the march on Ardvaca is off. I have increased some more of these units. I've upgraded them. And I'm actually going to begin the process of marching them towards Clonard and preparing to strike against Naas. And from there, I'll probably try and come down around this mountain range and claim the territories that have been taken by Dublin. I'm hoping that Dublin will continue fighting. First of all, we have Arguilla's army. I kept calling them Alloch and Breffni and tons of things in the last episode. Arguilla's army is sieging Dublin, and then we have our vassals, Breffni, and of course we also have a rather large army from A coming in this direction. But you know what? We'll upgrade those 2 as well, and bring the spring of 881 to an end. Flanchina has become a shepherd. He's industrious at level 2. So unit replenishment goes up. That's fantastic. We have the ability to march him as far as there. There's not really all that much we're going to gain from it. I might move these guys out. I'll move them to there. We'll march into Clonard. And I'll actually hand over these forces. So up to 17. And Alil, do you know what? I might very well get Alil to actually go towards... I could bring him into Lochgower and try and start recruiting units there. I think I'll send him up to Kells. And once we get some more food together, we can start trying to upgrade, give him some units to command. We don't have a tremendous amount of money together at the moment. I would, however, be able to go for the cattle pens at Ardagh to increase food production, or the church market at Clonard. Do you know what we're good for? We're good for public order at the moment. This is going to eat into food production, and this is going to... I've only just built this, so I don't feel like I need to go upgrading it straight away. Cows! More cows. Always cows. Now, if I had kept some money together, I would have been able to hold a fair of Taltu. It would give +5 public order. Again, I don't think we really need that at the moment. And it's telling me about research. We're 1 turn away from spearmen. And then, this is what's been unlocked. The ability to get tools. So we can either go for tools or +1 public order in all regions. I might go for this one. So, church income, do you know what? There's one that we want. Yeah, and we get scribes as well. I think we'll go for this one. After we finish off our spearmen, I need 3 more sword units, 4 skirmisher, 2 more horsemen, get a general up to rank 10. So yeah, we'll probably be going down the spearman route for a while. And over here we can see the remnants of Argulla's army after it smashed itself against the walls of Dublin. I think Dublin may actually have come out and attacked them, and then they withdrew from there. So, will Dublin stay where it is, or is it going to march on Skerries? Our poor vassals are getting an absolute hammering. Aramon has become lush. Alil has become raving and drooling. Free frocks and jollies forever, etc., etc. Public order goes down, influence goes down. Alil might very well be retired shortly. Troop organization has been gained for the spearmen, so we can start new research. We can just see over here, to start with, Bedlam, Anarchy. That 12, well, it was a 14 stack. Norse, the Raiders of the Bifrost. They left Dublin. They've completely wiped Bray's army. They only lost 2 units. And we can see Argulla's forces have headed further north. A is coming in, and I'm hoping that A is going to take care of this problem. Well, I'm hoping that he'll at least hit them hard enough the way that they won't start moving into... I don't really care about Lochgower, but that they don't start going for Clonard or anything like that. From where we are, can we? We're just short. We are just short, and there's a good chance that we're actually going to have to... how would we even get there? There we go. We can declare war on them on the next turn. So there's our attempt to march on Naas. It's a pity we couldn't make it in one turn. I think we're A-okay for upgrading buildings at the moment. This is going to lead to a public order deficit. And we've seen a bit of a drop in the public order here in Mide. Possibly because Flanchina has just left. And in terms of research, because they're actually quite important to us at the moment, I'm going to keep going with our spearmen units. So, trained spearmen, -1 turn until replenishment for spear infantry. So that's going to make them available quicker in the recruitment pool. And it will allow us to replace Fremen spearmen with Kern spearmen. So that's going to take 4 turns. We're going to focus on that. And here's a rather bizarre scenario. The southwest of Wales has declared war on Leinster. So again, this is the kind of the cannibalizing of the weak, or the picking off of the weak that you tend to see in Total War games. Basically, everyone is heading for Leinster at the moment. And here they have their forces. They have just started sailing up the Liffey. They could actually get all the ways as far as Naas. It was a good thing that we decided to cut them off, because this could be problematic otherwise. Even though I'm not too sure, will they make it ashore? Are they going to be able to make it ashore and actually attack? Oh god, if they do. Let's bring the year to an end. Flanchina has gotten himself a strong arm. He has become brutish, or he's gotten 1 level in brutish. And Aramon. So brutish 1 level, heroic level 1. Supports the troops. He's got an armor. So Aramon is a governor. I don't know if this is an actual upgrade to him specifically. Thankfully, those Welsh forces are currently located off the just to the south of Dublin. Dublin has marched its army north and is hoovering up gold out of the ground. A is marching his army in to fight them. And is A with the army? There he is, A Finlia, the King of Tara and High King of Ireland. Bray is marching what little of its army it has, the last of the Fianna. Well, there you go. There literally is the last of the Fianna under Muirachon. We could start messing around with our income at the moment. You know what? We're going to get this part done. First of all, we will declare war on Leinster. Our allies' attitude. Not too sure what... is this contributing to them? Our relations are deteriorating. Oh, their attitude towards Leinster. Because both of them have different versions of the Brian Boru harp that won't be technically kind of created until about the 12 or 1300s. So they're kind of competing which of the two of them has the better Brian Boru harp. We will accept.
You won't get an easy time of it.
Yeah, you have one settlement and it's on the verge of collapse. So, siege weapons in medieval Ireland. Catapults. Trebuchets in medieval Ireland. There you go. Right. So we'll have a battering ram. And one of those. If I was to put in two of those, will it take 2 turns? Or is it going to wait until the first one's built before it starts building the second one? I'm not entirely too sure. I would like if we were in a position to just actually attack them. Because they're not in a great position to resist. Like, just throw troops at them. Just throw troops at them. I'd say we should be fine with... We'd better get a second... Oh, they're not really going to have enough forces to actually to keep us at bay. We'll maintain the siege for now.
For the Morrigan.
Yes, the Morrigan. So we have another upgrade for Flann Sinna. He is brutish, he has experience. He is heroic, industrious, and he is personality. So we can either give him another champion to give him +2 to command. His command is fairly low. Is there something else causing his command to drop? That'll bring him up to 5. A charge bonus for the commander's unit. I do enjoy charging with commander units. A melee skill for the commander's unit. Go on. Go on. We also got the tithe barn finished in Clonmacnoise, so we'll start recruiting some forces for Alil, who is stone mad. He's after going off the wall. So, yeah, we'll give him an army with which to cause some trouble. We could go recruiting... I think if we recruit the 2 swordsmen, we might actually end up being able to open up that line of research, but considering we've put so much time and effort into spearmen, we'll recruit 2 of them. I've just realised that Thrones of Britannia uses the same icon for showing happiness as Dwarf Fortress, so our dwarves are not very happy at the moment. Well, I won't say they're not very happy. They're above 0, which is the most important thing. In 2 turns, we will get a boost. Our dwarves will become happier when the Caelid Abbey is built. If we were to go for the church market, it would only put it up by +2. And it's going to take 8 turns. We might as well begin the process of getting it built. So it'll be interesting now how exactly the guys over here respond. I'm not too sure what's going to happen. We will end the turn. The Divils, anyway, coming that distance to declare war on Leinster. Oh, Dublin has ran from A. And A should be in a position to march on Skerries. And there you go. Teleports across, has taken Skerries. Now, I thought that this was an indication of how many turns I would need to wait, but it's an indication of the labour force that was needed. So as far as I know, we actually have 2 battering rams and a siege tower built. So we are in a position, after just waiting for 1 turn, to siege Naas, and we will indeed attack. Here is that Welsh army. It's come up right close. And we're going to have to try and take the place before they do so. So this is the first siege that Flann Sinna will be taking part in. So there you go, not much of a... The Morrigan's Wrath. Will you go away with that nonsense? Not much of an opposing army. An interesting surrounding area. We got some buildings outside of the main fortification. So we should be able to just throw some ladders at this. We apparently have the Welsh coming in on our side. So here we go. The great medieval walls of Naas. The elevated ramparts. All historically accurate to medieval Ireland of this time period. No, they're not. So... yeah, basically you had 0 sieges in Ireland of this time period, other than Dublin. The first major sieges that actually occurred were when the Normans arrived and started building stone castles. I do like the map overall, but totally unrepresentative of anything that you would have seen in Ireland at this time period. A church in the middle with... is that supposed to be a high cross? Not too sure. And then lots of... I don't know, would we have had gravestones? These would be more symptomatic. I don't know if you'd have had these large kind of elevated ones at this time period. These are more kind of reflective of what you would see today. But these are what you kind of see in the background of Clonmacnoise and things like that. Right. Let's actually fight this. Let's actually fight this thing. So I was about to say, who has the equipment? Oh yeah, I can't put you there. Yeah, you know what? They're actually in pretty much the best position as is. So I will do my same old, of putting everyone together. You have, so the swordsmen have the siege equipment, which is not great. Right, there we go. Shut up, you.
Swordsmen, and them.
Do you know what? There's not really much of a need for the second. I didn't think about that.
Their walls will fall. The loyal Cymry are here to help. The loyal Cymry are here to help. As you say.
The loyal Cymry are here to help.
The true Cymry boost our numbers.
Swiftly now, men.
Oh, they're true Cymry. We're true Britons, but they're true Cymry. Oh, very good. Yeah.
The true Cymry boost our numbers.
The loyal Cymry are here to help.
The loyal Cymry are here to help. I don't know if anybody heard or if anybody's been watching.
Devil take the hindmost.
I thought I had it saved that you fools wouldn't talk anymore.
The loyal Cymry are here to help. Numbers.
And actually, the worst thing is, and I didn't fully notice, but the units that I've sent forward with the battering ram were one of the units that had only been raised recently. So that wasn't a great idea.
Hurry up there. Shift it up now.
So I think we're
We're overrunning them.
at the walls. There we go, the height of Irish siege ingenuity. We'll try and get up onto the walls and cause some devilment. They have a good chunk of troops in here. And I don't know if we'll be able to get the skirmishers. It'd be great to get them onto the walls, but facing inwards. So they have a good chunk of forces. And the doors have also gone down. So some of them are going for the door, some of them are going up the ramps, and it's just throw units into the pile. We could actually bring Flanchina forward and have him deliver some good news. So we better not have him go through the gates, because there's a good chunk of boiling oil falling. There you go. Probably the largest army that's ever been sent to take a single place. So we're still charging, or still trying to get up onto the walls here. We actually have a fairly solid pylon here, shoving forward, shoving forward. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Now, of course, they're able to fire down into that as well. We're driving a lot of the units from here. So we have some javelin men that we're trying to get up here, and I think they've actually made it up here, which is probably not the best place for them to be. And of course, the loyal Cymry are now making their way in here. We have lost one of our spearmen, or our swordsmen, I should say. Enemy general is dead. And we're in a position to give another bit of a boost. So this seems to be the victory spot. I'm not too sure is the center collapsing enough to let us through. It's not, I don't think. Okay, there you go. The victory appears to be ours. I think I should be in a position to end the battle. A decisive victory. So a bit dishevelled as a result of bringing the forces in a kind of a peculiar direction. 277 losses, 653 kills. I thought that was remaining. I was trying to figure out those two numbers don't match. 1428. And we will... we could actually subjugate them. We will occupy. So poor old Leinster has been destroyed. Murachon is dead. And we have damaged buildings, no doubt. So, an interesting first siege. Will we be in a position to take Clonmore, Invermore, Glendalough? Will we be in a position to liberate all of these regions and basically carve out a kingdom? Where is the major? It wasn't. Naas wasn't the capital, was it? Naas was the capital. Okay, that's interesting. So I would have thought it would have been Ferns, which would be historically... Oh, well, no. Ferns would be the capital of the Hinchley. Probably up in this region would have been the capital of one of the branches of the Dunlinga, so that would make sense. I was going to say we have some hefty repairs to do. Do you know what we don't? Naas, the Great Hole, 64 quid. And the Tithe Barn, 86 quid. So there you go. We can build a fist fighter pit. Okay, interesting. The Church of the Oak. The Church of St. Bridget. Which would give a 10% chance of having children. St. Bridget, I think how is she described in this? It describes her as the patron saint of beer. Is one of the things that she's the saint of. Where is St. Bridget's? There's, oh, I'm lost. I'm totally lost. So I was wrong. There's, the settlements are St. Kennach, St. Patrick, there's the Monastery of St. Kieran, so there's this big, and you can get up to a cathedral, and then there are church buildings. And here we have the Church of St. Bridget, which can be the double house of St. Bridget. So she's described as, where is it? As she's even sometimes considered to be a patron saint of beer, allegedly having the ability to turn dirty bathwater into alcoholic beverages. A woman came to St. Bridget with a problem. And she explained her problem to St. Bridget, and they said a prayer, and the problem disappeared. The problem? The woman was pregnant. That's a story that seldom gets recited anymore. So it's rather interesting that Bridget is here, or that building her church will give you an increased chance of having children for all characters. I don't know if we'll build that. You know what? We might, just because it's a unique building. But Nace would be a bit farther north than where she would have been based. But there you go. Right, we've liberated somewhere from... Oh wait, no, we liberated from itself. We protected it from the Welsh. That's what we did. Skills available.
My warriors are unparalleled.
Clericon is a general. So we'll give him a champion. He doesn't exactly have a lot of people around him at the moment, or he doesn't exactly have a lot of troops. And now in Leinster, we have the opportunity to appoint a new commander. We could get somebody with reducing recruitment costs. There's not many great candidates here. We have an archer, and we have a warrior. This is all for commanded armies, though, so that's not great. There's Eramon, who's commanding in Mide. So we would end up appointing the selected candidate. God, all of you people are terrible. Tiernan. Sure, what is... Yeah, Tiernan, sure. Well done. You get Leinster. And the first thing we're told about him is his loyalty is 1. Oh god. So we continue adding small strips of land to our territory, and we're going to focus once again over on Dublin and see what is happening here. Dublin has a 12 stack, there's another Viking 14 stack, and then we have 19 belonging to A. And we have Bray's barely recovering army there. And actually, where's Arguilla? They're up to 14, back up at Ordvaca, and they'll probably start moving down. I think we're going to try and move down to Clonmore and try and secure as much of this area as we can. Hopefully while somebody else kind of keeps the Vikings occupied. We will bring the spring of 882 to an end. So I'm not too pushed about Lochgower. The problem, however... This devil has gotten some experience for himself. Stop being disloyal. The problem, however, is A slammed into the side of the Norse and has driven them into our land. They are now within striking distance of Clonard, so I was hoping that they would just basically hang around Lochgower. I was hoping they'd take Lochgower. I don't really care about it. What do we think is going to happen? Are they going to turn around and try and deal with A? They get to move first. See, they're a bit mad. They could either try and get back into Dublin and defend from A, or they could head for Nace.
War is what we do best.
The Devils, we can't trust them.
Show no mercy.
This will be our first battle against the Vikings. They're actually severely depleted. they are severely depleted. And it's maybe the one thing that I don't like about the Total War series as a whole is that an army that is this heavily depleted can still cause tremendous trouble. And we basically have to deal with it. There's a lot of things I feel in some of the Total War games that basically just kind of extend the game unnecessarily. Now, it would be handy if I could put together a smaller army that could be kind of going in behind the back of my forces and tidying up things like this, but I'm not in a position to do that. Severely reduced visibility, we will wait. And start deployment. So we're going up against who is believed to be one of the sons of who is believed to be Ivar the Boneless. We have my well-practiced, well-honed, very long, thin line of troops strategy. And basically, get them all to just move forward a bit, close the distance, and then we'll start thinking about what we're going to do with them. Somebody got left behind, that's flanned. You know what, that's fine. Now, our horse boys, can we get them to actually do any of the strategies that I've been trying with a while? Which is to get them to basically just throw javelins, withdraw, and keep throwing javelins. I don't think so. Actually leaving this army intact and letting it just, like, go back to Dublin and keep A occupied, that would have been absolutely tremendous. That would have been the best. But you can't be guaranteed that that's what's actually going to happen. It's what would make sense, both for them and for me. But we saw them heading for Linz while ago and leaving Dublin unprotected. There is a hefty garrison at Dublin. So I need to bring these guys in a good bit more.
Speed up, riders! Hurry!
The hope is that they would get into range, start throwing javelins, and then withdraw if it was required. So they're just on the edge.
Speed up, riders! Move it! Make them fear us! Where's the fight? Drive those horses!
So the center is coming forward by the looks of it.
Let's get to it! Hurry up there! They can shoot us here! Cavalry!
I don't actually have my javeliners in range, which is a bit of a pity. And they're actually heading for the spear, or for the swordsman, which is fantastic. These guys are still in a bad way from their siege while ago. I would hope these guys are throwing javelins, because they're in range. There's a couple of javelins going, not many.
Javelins! Javelins! Missiles away! Target and fire! Fire your missiles!
We've got some charges coming in.
Loose missiles! Missiles away!
So we have archers and we have scouts. I don't think we'll be able to actually hit them.
Javelins! Rain down!
But even if they do end up retreating very far away, they have some fighters here, but we can always slam into the back of their archers.
Briskly now! Smash them! Raiders! End them! Attack! Run them! Let's get to it!
One of their units is falling. I'm not too sure what these idiots are at. Like, they run in too far and then get scared when they realize how close they've gotten. We're under a bit of a siege up there, or a bit of attack. Do you know what? We'll, let's see if we can take out these guys. And I might try and get a bit of a javelin on javelin action. We're in a bit of trouble over here.
Javelins! Javelins! Fire your missiles! The troops are routing!
We got them that time. Raiders!
And it is just
Ravage them!
rush forward. We'll probably try and get the cavalry out and probably see if we can get in another charge. We won't toggle mount, that would be a bad idea.
Bring it on! Let's get out of here!
Grind them into the mud!
So that's not going tremendous up there. They're just basically chasing them down to the edge of the map. Let's see if we can get a charge in on the back of these guys. Nope, they've gotten caught on this one soldier. There we go. Okay. A bit messy, a bit messy. I think we've probably had our javeliners cause a lot of damage to our own forces. Well, there you go. That's unfortunate. I was hoping that the Dublin forces would continue to cause trouble for A and for a few others. Keep them distracted. Keep them occupied. Keep Arguilla weak.
You did us proud, boys! A victory to celebrate!
And once that one troop gets killed,
I shall compose an ode.
there he goes. He was just about to compose an ode. And we'll try and get these spearmen dealt with. Well, not dealt with, but just send in Flan, send in the Arik horsemen, and get a couple more XP. And there we go. He gets a nice little silver chevron for himself. So a poor reflection of Dublin's tremendous strength and ability. We caught them when they were weak. We caught them in a bad time. If we caught them on a good day, oh boys, the devilment they would do. Do you know what? Considering that it's Dublin forces, we will ransom and release the captives. So Barther is dead, by all accounts.
Hurry it up!
And
None shall stand against us.
we'll begin marching back in this direction, but we've had to come out a good chunk. We have damaged buildings in Lochgower. I suppose we should... do we need to start working? Do we need to start focusing on it? Nah, we'll leave it for a while. So this entire region, Bray, is in absolute anarchy. We have a risk of rebellion in a lot of places. Line is at -15, the Divils. The absolute Divils. So -11 from Allegiance. Is that you? Was that you causing trouble? His loyalty is coming up a bit, so that's good at the very least. Right, and we have a food shortage, yes. What's actually causing the food shortage? Oh, it might be when I had to promote this guy. I'm not actually entirely too sure. So let's see how we're getting on here with some of our buildings. Do we have anything coming up? 4 turns and 6 turns. This will give us 10 turns to a cattle farm, which is going to give us 121 production. Again, we might as well start down that route. What can I actually do in Nice? We'd need to increase the hall here, which will decrease food production. That's also going to decrease public order. So yeah, before we can do anything else, we're going to need to try and take some of the other areas. Right. Right. Cattle farm it is. And with a chunk of those problems dealt with, for the glory of the Gaels, we will bring the turn to an end. I imagine, is going to march on Dublin. I'm not too sure if they're going to have a force ready to resist him. So this is why I don't want to be fighting two wars at a time. Dublin's absolutely shattered army took Skerries and suddenly went from 1 to 11 troops. And A went in and smashed them. I imagine they're going to get a chunk of troops together. I am seeing with the AI forces that troop numbers, massive troop numbers, are just appearing out of nowhere. I'm not in a position, barely in a position, to sustain the level of forces that Argyll has. And it only has 3 territories.
My warriors are unparalleled.
Do we march into Naas and let them recover, or do we march all the ways out as far as humanly possible to see if we can get the jump on Clonmore? I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. We will head for Naas.
You can count on us.
I was going to actually take apart one of these units, and I might do it anyway. We'll do it anyway. So disband that unit. And that brings us into positive food production values again. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Argyll, how the hell are they sustaining enough food to support that many soldiers? We're into a positive food production. The likelihood of rebellions is decreasing. And we have just completed trained spearmen. Now, I don't know, does that mean that all of the current spearmen have actually been replaced? I think we'll have to upgrade them, and we're not in a position to do that with the main army just yet. I could have actually done it before I moved them to Naas, but I wasn't paying attention. Plus 5% upkeep per spear infantry, but minus 30% recruitment cost for every spear infantry. Okay, interesting. And if we look at civic, we can go for toolmaker, or we can go for public order in all regions. It's not much of a jump, but it's something. We'll get scribes, plus 3 XP for generals, and increased church income. So I think community is going to be one of the main ones we're going to focus on over here. There's a couple of other things that we need to do. A pub, we can build a pub. Fist fighters. I think we have a fist fighter garrison, or we can build a fist fighter garrison here. Right. So we are actually in a position, even though they're down here, they're outside. Well, yeah, I suppose. So we have the blacksmith, and you have to be in Mide to benefit from the blacksmith, but you can be anywhere to benefit from the development that we just had. So these guys are Fremen spearmen. And we can now, for 150, retrain them as Kern spearmen. So, let's see. So, shield is going to go up dramatically. Armor goes up a slight bit. Melee skill goes up a small bit. Melee damage, I believe, remains unchanged. But the big one is shield. So, we'll train one of them anyway as Kern spearmen. And they get themselves a fancy round shield, oh boys. And I think you guys as well. So those are our 2 silver chevroned spearmen. That's pretty much all we can do for this turn. We're going to look, like I said, to marching down in this direction, and we might end up sweeping up this region if all goes well. Now, it does bring us desperately close to the Viking powers down here, and I would like to try and form alliances with them. But at the moment, this entire region is free and open for the taking. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Dublin goes over the top. Oh, those divils, they always take things too seriously. So the Nordman has been done away with. All minor Viking, Sea King factions in Ireland will become vassals of Dublin. One of the Irish long forts has fallen. Dublin has fallen. Typically, Dublin overreacts, don't they always? Forcing every other Viking faction in Eru to become their vassals. And it's raining blood. Hallelujah. I think that's going to bring a significant penalty with it. Now we have a rebellion here in... Oh, it's actually in North. It's a pity we're not in a position to wander across and actually take that. And I'm sure Alec might wander up there in a moment, but indeed, or I should say Argilla Alec, has taken Dublin. Dublin has fallen, and now all of the Viking factions were in a constant state of raid all the ways down the coast. I was hoping that we could make it to Clonmore, and we wouldn't have to be dealing with anything else, but already we are seeing Viking forces heading for Dublin. Substantial Viking forces heading to lift the siege of Dublin. A is now probably the greatest of the Irish High Kings. He has taken Dublin. Historically and notoriously, the Northern Aenale did a very good job of immediately driving the Norse out of any region that they established up here. They did too good of a job, because what later Southern Aenale monarchs and we had the... Where have they gone to? Oh Jesus, where are we? Down in Clare, the O'Briens, Brian Boru and his descendants, and even Leinster for a period of time, they actually used Dublin, which they kept either independent or as effectively as a vassal or under their own control. But after Dublin had been given enough time to build itself into the powerhouse that it is, well, it's not yet. But I mean, like I said, early 900s we're going to see the Vikings driven out of Ireland. But the settlement isn't actually seized. It isn't seized by the Irish until 988, I think, is the first time that the Irish actually entered Dublin and seized control of it and really enforced their will on the region. And it became a massive moneymaker for the Southern Aenale and for the Southern powers, for not Connacht, well, yeah, Connacht for a while, but predominantly Munster and Leinster. So the Northern Aenale actually did too good of a job keeping the Viking powers off the island, and of course also Limerick was an important source of mercenaries for the O'Briens. Everyone's always about how, oh, Brian Boru waged constant war against the Vikings, and when he was a young man and his brother made an alliance with the Vikings, he carried out guerrilla war against him, or carried out guerrilla war against the Vikings. That's from a kind of a propagandistic text written in the early 1100s. And Brian Boru most likely did not carry out guerrilla attacks on the Vikings of Limerick, but when he was in a position to completely destroy them, he didn't. And they joined him on his side at the Battle of Clontarf. So the Irish, the Southern Irish groups, and when we're saying Southern, we're basically looking around here at the Liffey and going across to and down at a bit of an angle to here. So that's the Escorial somewhere along there, which divides the northern and the southern half. Le Queen, the northern half, and Le Moa, or Le Moga, the southern half. But Dublin becomes a power base, an economic power base for the Southern Aenale. Right. I've completely forgotten what I was supposed to be doing. We don't have a tremendous amount that we can do with money at the moment, so I'm going to finish. We'll actually stay above 2,000 if I recruit all of them. So we've now replaced all of our spearmen with Cairn spearmen. And what we can do is march for Clonmore. And we'll actually be in a position to take that in the next turn. And I would be hoping that we'd be within striking distance of... Oh, we'd be within striking distance of Ferns. Oh, this is interesting. Now we have moved them out into bad winter conditions, so we'll try and bring those to an end as quickly as possible, and we'll take a look at what is going on up here. We've actually suffered substantial losses as a result of moving them in there. That was maybe That wasn't great. Do you know what? I know I gave out to you on the first episode, and I said to shut up and that I wouldn't be listening to you, but do you know what? I should have listened to you that time. So what's going on here? Alil has been whispering rumours behind my back. He's been causing trouble with a while. We could declare our authority or pay him for his silence. We will declare our authority. That will give us increased influence. And here's Tiernan. Tiernan could become vengeful. Oh, Tiernan. We will ignore for now. Clerican is well armoured and an exemplar. We're seeing a bit of a problem where we're seeing a second revolt has broken out. Is that a second revolt or the same revolt? That's a second revolt. A different revolt has broken out in Kelmoor. Our major problem, that's not much of a problem. A is heading for Glendalough. I'd be hoping that some of the Viking forces would get as far as Dublin and cause him to turn around and head back in that direction. So we will begin the liberation of what was once upon a time Leinster. I'm just seeing a couple of... There's rebellions in Breffni. Okay, there's a ton of things happening.
Doing it.
Dublin, the poor devils, have fallen back on Arklow and made it their new capital, from what I can understand. And you know what? I was going to head for Ferns. It's a great opportunity to head for Ferns. First of all, if we could take Invermore, it would block off A's march southwards. The other thing is that it has cows, and oh boys do I love cows. We're seeing more. I don't know, is the number actually dropping or not? I think it's dropping a bit. The revolt level in Leinster, I think if we can bring more and more of Leinster together, that will bring down that revolt level. And I would like to try and get some forces together, because if they push from there onto Ardagh, we could be in a bit of trouble. And actually here in Kells,
War is what we do best.
I'm going to recruit some units. So here we have an ability to recruit Kern, straight off the bat, for 200. We have some units already, so I think we will go with some Kern swordsmen, and by some I mean one. I haven't recruited Axemen yet, and I'm not too pushed about recruiting Axemen. We have no skirmishers, so we will have to recruit a unit of those. So that is going to put us, into a negative food supply. And these guys, that's the wrong one. I will upgrade the two of them. I'll probably hold them here for one turn, because in Clonmacnoise, actually no, not in Clonmacnoise, I keep coming down here. In Ardagh, we're about to get a unit recruited. Or not a unit, but we're about to get some cows recruited. And that will give us forces with which maybe we could move up and take on Kelmoor. Or is it nearly something that we should do now?
Our bravery is legendary.
It's that unit of 18 skirmishers. They're in the worst position. We'll hold on for a turn. We'll hold on for a turn, and we will focus on what bedlam and anarchy is occurring down here. The usurper, Alil, what is going on here? This man has been planning to overthrow your rule. Oh, Alil. There are a number of options. Show no mercy. Oh, Alil. So, we've probably blinded him. The devil. And we have an opportunity now to replace him with somebody, hopefully somebody that isn't insane. Is this our son? It is. Well, there you go. Welcome to the army. So something that I do a lot in CK3 is basically put my children in the army. which is generally the thing that you are advised not to do. Keep your children out of the army because they're going to get killed in this time period. Like I've said, with legitimacy, there was no such thing as divine right. One of the ways of securing the succession of a favoured son, or just of your son in general, was to give them military command. And we would have seen that at the Battle of Clontarf, where Brian Boru had given command of the army, and this had happened for a couple of decades before this, had given command of the army to his eldest son, Mudaka. And that was pretty much as close as you could get to designating a successor. By giving important positions to your eldest son, you were elevating them. And you were... I won't say elevating them, but you were increasing their prestige. It's something that I'm going to discuss at a later point in time. Tanistry doesn't work like it works in CK3. It's a bit different. There's some kind of subtle differences to it. But one of the ways of kind of guaranteeing or hinting at who you wanted as a successor was to hand out important positions to somebody. Also, if your successor doesn't have experience leading armies and doesn't have the respect of the vassals, if we'd call them that, of the groups that you're depending on to give you soldiers, they're not going to succeed. So quite often, sons of kings are killed in battle, and kings themselves are killed in battle. Hopefully that doesn't happen to Donica. And do you know what? As a bit of a celebration, it's Donica's 16th birthday. He's just come of age. We will hold the Fair of Taltu. I hope it's not still raining blood. Questions of legitimacy would be decisively answered by holding a grand fair. It is decreed, then, that tests of strength, endurance, and agility should be held as proof of our divine... there's that again. So that will at least help with the risk of rebellion. It's lifted it fairly high in Bray and has completely gotten rid of it in Leinster, I believe. We still have those forces marching around up there. That army, of course, it's, yeah, Donica. We're still actually getting that army up and running.
For the glory of the Gaels.
And the handy thing is that Dublin has headed north. Dublin has actually sailed north to try and retake Dublin. So A has started to move in that direction again, leaving
Gaels forever.
Arklow open for the taking. Sack the place, burn it, kill them all. We'd better occupy it. And would you look at this now? Would you take a look at this? I always thought they had notions up this end of the country, up in Arklow. A beach port. Well, excuse you. +1 supplies, increase commerce, food production. Is there a convert option? What's the other option? A beach port. That doesn't... What? Oh, it'd be a beach market. Even better. So what does the beach market do? Food production. Does this give us food? It gives us a decreased amount of food. So I don't think we're pushed about money from commerce. The main way we want to make money is through church holdings. The increased food production, however, would be fantastic. So I'm actually going to see if we can convert that. That's going to take 4 turns, and here are our cows. So we're already on 30 surplus food, even though we haven't even gotten this up and running yet. And that extra food, it does allow us to recruit extra forces. I was going to say it would allow us to increase the settlement in Clonmacnoise, but again, to protect our son and heir, who rebelled twice against Flanshina during his lifetime. He would, however, succeed as King of Mide after the death of his brother Cruhur at the Battle of Island Bridge. So I think 7, at least 5, if not 7 Irish kings were killed in 919 at the Battle of Island Bridge when the Vikings returned to Dublin. So Niall Glundov was killed, and the King of Alloch and the King of the Northern Enale and the High King of Ireland and Cruhur the king of the southern Enale, was killed. So at the same time, at the exact same point in time, Donnacha became king of the southern Enale and High King of Ireland, King of Tara. And he would marry the elder sister of Brian Boru, in basically an effort to ally with the Dalgash and to keep Munster weak, which was something that he was aiming at. He would accuse her of adultery with one of his sons from a different marriage and execute her. So there you go. This man has an interesting career ahead of him. Go on. Will we give him some skirmishers? We can't give him troops or horsemen because we don't have the money. Do you know what? We'll hold off. We're busy. We're busy holding the fair of Taltu. Not the most exciting of episodes in terms of battles. I think we only had the one, really, at Nace, wasn't it? Did we fight any more battles today? I'm not too sure. The political developments over here, really interesting to see what is going on. But it's one of the things that I'm finding about this game is it's quite hard to just fight somebody. Because you're either mopping up these poorly defended areas. There's pretty much nothing to stop us reaching Ross, other than the fact that we have to go north to Glendalough. So that'll take a turn. And you're either mopping up these tiny armies, or you're trying to put together enough forces to fight these huge armies. So it's kind of a peculiar scenario. But there you go. We've expanded our holdings significantly. I think we've doubled the size of the kingdom. Okay, we've lost Kelmore, and we have lost... Oh no, we got it back. Oh, we never lost it. The Vikings in Dublin never took Lochgower. Next episode, Glendalough, and continue mopping up in this region. If we could take Glendalough and Ferns at least, that would be absolutely fantastic. We will try to form we will try to get a peace treaty with Dublin at some stage. I'm not too pushed about controlling Dublin. I'm not too pushed about controlling these regions down here, even though I think they're part of, yeah, one of them. Oh no, Ferns. And Glendalough. Oh no, so none of these places are part of... They're their own separate areas. Okay, that's fantastic. So, yeah, if we can take Ferns, we don't even need to take Ross. If we can take Ferns and Glendalough, we're set. We will have all of Limerick. And by Limerick, I mean Leinster. And that's really going to add to our ability to put together some troop numbers and to deal with the next goal. I have no idea what that's going to be. There you go. Not the most exciting of episodes in terms of actual conquests and military victories, but we're setting a good economic foundation for our future conquest. Thank you for joining me on this episode, and I hope you will join me on the next one, as our attempts at a short prestige victory, I think, are now becoming a long Conquest of Ireland victory.